Paul, it looks like the council is going to, and the city is going to move ahead with a report from the EDC and the CAO regarding a course of action given the sort of the economic downturn that's the city is facing right now.
Yeah, I mean, the city, unfortunately, is still very dependent on SR steel, and the reason why I say that is diversification is always a good thing. We're happy we have SR, but when SR suffers, we as a community suffer, and I think it's the reason for the resolution that's come forward is clearly we have to let the public know that we're taking a leadership role in trying to address the situation.
Was the news last week kind of that catalyst in getting this motion to council?
Yeah, you know, it seems to me, again, I'm not an expert and I said this, I don't know how much the federal government has the whole steel industry dilemma on their radar screen. And I think it's important that council, this city, other cities and businesses, other steel companies that are affected by this, speak to the federal government to put it front and center.
Is it not surprising, though? I mean, 6 months ago, or about that time, the senior levels of government announced a combined $60 million investment into SR to upgrade SR Steel Algoma, and now here they are for sale, looking for a buyer. I mean, what's the reaction?
Exactly. I mean, it's a valid question, and I don't have a good answer. It kind of confounds all of us. You know, as I said, SR is a low-cost integrated steel producer. There's no reason why they should be having trouble, except that everything you hear relates to the fact that there are countries that are dumping steel, and the price of steel is very low right now, and it makes even a cost-effective company like SR struggle.
It's not just SR, though. There's other factors at play here that have really sort of dragged down the city's ability to rebound in an economy.
Well, again, I mean, we are very much reliant on SR, and if SR is not healthy, then I mean we suffer. I mean, you look at the price of oil; it's affected Tenaris and other companies. I guess it's the perfect storm. It's you know, nobody's going to be drilling and exploring for oil when it's down at $30 a barrel.
Well, you've got to be satisfied that this course of action, as it's been described, is going to be pursued. Tom Dott spoke about it, and the CAO, Al Horsman, also spoke about what's been going on and what's going to be done and be planned to help Sault Ste. Marie during this time.
Absolutely. I mean, we're dealt these cards, and the only thing we can do is our best and be very active in pursuing the types of things we need to do to try to turn this around for the community.
So maybe talk about some of those things. I think one of the things was to help businesses that are affected, maybe get some, I think as the CAO said, some mini infrastructure stimulus to get some projects that might be done in the next year rather than the next year.
Yeah, I mean, we were just introduced this tonight. That's the first I've heard of it. It makes good sense, but that's the type of thinking that we need. Anything that we can do to help. And the point was well made tonight that it's not just SR. It's the businesses that are owed so much money in this town, that have cash flow issues, that are on the verge themselves. So I think the mayor's idea about trying to bring forward some of these projects within the city is a good idea, but that's the kind of thinking we need, and that's why we need everybody at the table.
Another point that was brought up was having like communities like Regina and Hamilton on board to try to not only support Sault Ste. Marie, but get the steel industry, get people more aware of it and its struggles.
Yeah, again, it's not just an SR problem, it's a steel industry problem. And we can't be speaking as individual groups. We need to be one voice. And that's when you'll get the federal government and other players in this problem to listen.
So the first report, no later than February 22nd, Councillor Shoemaker had wanted frequent reports. Obviously, you want them as frequent as you can, but I think one report I heard last week was SR's got, I think, 8 months to find this buyer or whatever will happen here. What do you hope to see in the next 6 months or so to see any sort of improvement?
Well, I think I don't want to speculate on on what type of improvements I want to see within the city itself as much as I want to see what the plan is going forward. I'm not sure exactly how this thing's going to play out. The intent of my resolution was simply to say, we've got an issue here. We need to be working together to try to find solutions and try to find ideas that will help us move through this period in our history. And I do agree with Councillor Shoemaker. Like, it's important that we get constant updates. When you don't get information, people create their own information, and that's the worst thing that we can do. The more information, the more updates, any positive information that's coming from these efforts will only help bolster the community's morale.